Today's lesson is camels, ships of the desert. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And my name is Helen.
And today, Helen and myself are going to continue talking about camels, which are considered ships of the desert. They can withstand those extreme temperatures. And, of course, they've got some special features in their bodies to help keep them cool in those extreme temperatures. A lot of people think the humps store water, but that's not true. It's actually body fat, so the rest of their body doesn't have fat, so they can stay cool. What other kinds of features did we talk about?
Right. They also have facial features that help keep sand out of their faces, long eyelashes and clear third eyelids that keep sand out of their eyes, and nostrils that can close. They also have a cooling system in their bodies that keep them cool internally. So we've learned a lot about the physical features of camels. And now we can take a look at their habitat, where they live, where they come from, and a little bit of the history of camels.
It's quite fascinating, isn't it? So let's get to it. Let's listen to the first part, and then we'll talk about it.
Wild camels could once be found as far as North America, but today the only remaining ones, about 1,000 in total, live in China and Mongolia. Most camels are domestic, kept as livestock just like cows and horses.
大家好，第一部分我们看到单字 domestic， 这个字是形容词，指驯养的，非野生的。例如 The domestic cat and dog are two of the most common pets. 家猫和家犬是最常见的两种宠物。另外 domestic 还有以下两种意思。第一，指家庭的、居家的。举例来说 The TV show is about the domestic life of an average American family. 这个电视节目的内容是关于一般美国家庭的家居生活。第二，有国内的、本国的意思。我们可以说 I heard that they have an airport that is used for domestic flights only. 我听说他们有一个机场只飞国内线。
And welcome back. Let's look at the first part of today's lesson and jump into the first sentence, which says, wild camels could once be found as far as North America, but today the only remaining ones, about 1,000 in total, live in China and Mongolia. So there aren't many wild camels around these days, only 1,000. That's not a lot considering how many camels there are around the world. I suppose it's because a lot of people have domesticated them so that camels can work for them, help them with doing work.
Yep. Wild animals, of course, are out there in many forms like birds and rabbits and stuff, but wild camels, wow, they're kind of big. It's kind of hard for them to continue being wild. They are domesticated mostly, but I guess there still are some in Mongolia and China, but I didn't know this. I didn't know they could be once found in North America. I have heard of camels in Australia, but I don't think they're wild. They're probably domesticated, but there are only about 1,000 camels in total, all in all. As a conclusion, there are only about 1,000 that are living in the wild, and they are in China and Mongolia. Those are huge places without a lot of people in those regions where they live, so I could just see there being wild camels there.
That's true. Now, these days, most camels are domestic, kept as livestock, just like cows and horses. So most camels today are not wild. They're domestic, which means they are kept by people around the house, within the vicinity of the house, just like cows and sheep and chicken. They're not roaming around in the wild.
That's right. They're kept at home. Domestic means having to do with one's home. So, yes, they're kept as livestock, just like cows and pigs and horses. They're raised for slaughter or whatever. And remember earlier we did use the word domesticate as a verb. That means they have been brought in from the wild and are now kept at home. They are domestic. Domestic also can refer to things having to do with the inside of a country. Like here in Taipei, Songshan used to be called the domestic airport before it started having international flights. It used to be the domestic airport, whereas the international airport was in Taoyuan, but Songshan is now an international airport too.
Right. Another usage of domestic could refer to housework, like women used to be in charge of domestic work, which means they used to be in charge of cleaning the house and keeping order inside the house. But women these days are also working outside. So they're not only doing domestic work, but also work in society.
Hopefully the men are doing some domestic work as well. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson. Let's now listen to the second part and learn some more about camels.
Humans have been working with camels, using them for everything from hauling loads to carrying royals, since at least 3000 BC. Unlike other domestic animals, trained camels still have strong wills and do not tolerate disrespect. If a camel feels you are treating it badly, it will spit at you to let you know. Despite their temperaments, camels are useful for military purposes, as they can outlast horses in hot conditions. India uses a camel force to patrol its borders even today. When not out in the field, India's military camels carry musicians that play for parades and other special events.
第二部分我们看到名词 disrespect， 意思是无礼、不尊重。例如 I meant no disrespect for your opinion yesterday. 我昨天没有不尊重你的意见。另外在 disrespect 字尾加上 ful 就成了形容词 disrespectful， 指失礼的、不敬重的。举例来说 Most people agree that showing up late to a job interview is disrespectful. 多数人同意工作面试时迟到非常失礼。再来我们看到单字 temperament， 这个字是名词，指性情、性格。例如That cat has a nervous temperament, so don't touch him if it's not necessary. 那只猫性情容易紧张，非必要时请不要摸它。另外，在 temperament 字尾加上 al 就变成形容词 temperamental， 指喜怒无常的、捉摸不定的。我们可以说 Tracy has a temperamental student in her class. Sometimes he works hard and sometimes he doesn't.Tracy 的班上有个表现起伏不定的学生，有时很用功，有时不用功。接下来我们看到动词 outlast， 指较持久，比活得长。举例来说 That little coffee shop outlasted all the other chain stores nearby. 那间小咖啡店比附近其他连锁店开得更久。再举一个例子 My grandma outlasted all her siblings.我的奶奶比她所有的兄弟姐妹长寿。
And welcome to the second part of our lesson, and we're going to learn a bit more about camels. And it says here, humans have been working with camels, using them for everything from hauling loads to carrying royals since at least 3000 BC. So that's a long time. That's around 5,000 years that humans have been working with camels or using camels. And in the past, camels were used for hauling loads, and that means to carry something heavy or to pull something heavy from one place to another with a lot of effort. So, for instance, I could say, I hauled a bunch of heavy textbooks from the library back to my house. So camels were used for hauling things in the desert and also for carrying royals, carrying kings and queens and noble people. I guess they would put a seat or some kind of platform on top of the camel, maybe between the humps, and people would sit on top of that, and camels would be used to transport people across the desert.
That's right. Those, of course, were in the days without air conditioning and without luxury limousines. Of course, royals nowadays wouldn't be caught dead riding on the back of a camel unless they were doing it for a photo opportunity, for publicity or something like that. But yes, camels were used to haul heavy loads, like large trucks nowadays can haul heavy loads from the harbor to warehouses or whatever. And unlike other domestic animals, trained camels still have strong wills and do not tolerate disrespect. So, yeah, don't underestimate camels. They are actually quite intelligent. They know what they like and they know what they don't like. So they have a very strong will. If you have a strong will, that means you want to do something and you don't take no for an answer.
Right. They do not tolerate disrespect. To tolerate means to allow someone to do something to you that you don't like or that you don't approve of. So they're not going to let humans do something to them that they don't like. They're not going to tolerate that. And they're not going to tolerate disrespect. So if humans want to continue working smoothly, peacefully with camels, they should respect the camels and treat them well and see this as a collaboration rather than humans just using camels. And I do have to say that other domestic animals, they don't really tolerate disrespect either. Horses are not very obedient animals sometimes. Neither are cows.
Yep, they have very strong wills. Indeed, they're intelligent. Do not underestimate them. You're going to have to face the consequences if you disrespect a camel. For example, if a camel feels you are treating it badly, it will spit at you to let you know. Ooh, that sounds like a pretty serious situation there. So do not treat the camel badly. Do not overwork it. Do not beat it or anything. Don't call it names. Don't try to cut off its eyelashes or anything like that. It will know that you are treating it badly, and it will spit at you. Blah! It will spit at you, perhaps even spit on you to let you know. And you do not want to have camel spit on your body.
Right. You don't want to make fun of it or poke fun at it. The camel will know it's smart if you're making fun of it. So treat camels with respect. Now, despite their temperaments, camels are useful for military purposes as they can outlast horses in hot conditions. So despite their temperaments, meaning despite their basic character, which is the fact that they don't tolerate disrespect, despite this, camels are useful for military purposes, for use in the army, for battle, because they do well in hot weather.
Yep, your temperament here just refers to your general personality. Are you calm? Do you get excited or angry easily? That's your temperament. You might have a mild temperament, and therefore you don't get mad at people. Or you might be moody, which means that you can have a bad temperament. If somebody says something wrong, you can get really angry and start throwing things and things like that. So yes, despite their temperaments, even though they can have shifts in their moods, they're still useful in the military for military purposes, for campaigns. When an army tries to invade another country, they can outlast horses in hot conditions. To outlast means to last longer. They can keep on hauling those heavy loads in the desert when horses pass out.
Right. For instance, I could say my old washing machine, which I bought 20 years ago, has outlasted many newer models because it was made at a time when machines were made to last and not to break after a few years. So camels outlast horses. They're stronger. They're more durable. Now, India uses a camel force to patrol its borders even today. So that's something that I didn't know. Camels are used in the army regularly to patrol borders, even today. So to patrol means to move regularly around a place in order to protect it or to prevent crime, to prevent attacks. So, for instance, I could say the police patrolled the crime scene to make sure that no one touched any of the evidence.
Indeed. So we've also got the word force here, the camel force. That's a noun. Like if you're talking about airplanes and jets, then that would be the air force. And they patrol the borders, making sure everything's okay, probably keeping out drug smugglers or whatever. And when not out in the field, India's military camels carry musicians that play for parades and other special events. That sounds like a special experience there. The military camels can be used in parades, and they will carry those musicians on their humps or on their backs. So people will be playing all sorts of wonderful musical instruments. Gee, I haven't heard any Indian music that I do not love. They've got some great musical traditions there. So if you hear musicians playing on the back of a camel, that's probably going to be a very special experience for you, especially during a parade when you see marching bands and camels and important people going past you on the streets.
That's right. I had no idea that camels actually carried musicians also, and that seems like a really interesting tradition, and it's something that I would love to witness one day.
Would be cool. You'd have to go to Mumbai for that, but we'll talk about that later on. But right now we're going to move on now to the final paragraph and talk some more about camels.
The camels themselves are likely contributing some interesting sounds to the music too, because they can make a surprising variety of noises. In fact, camels were even responsible for providing some of the audio for Chewbacca in Star Wars. So the next time you come across a camel, keep an ear out for their chewy sounds.
So we're going to wrap up our talk about camels today. We've learned a lot about camels, how they keep cool in the desert, the systems in their body that allow them to live in the desert, and also their contributions in history, including working in the military and patrolling borders. Now, they also carry musicians during parades and other special events. So the music that you might hear during these parades come from the musicians playing their instruments and maybe singing, I don't know. But some of the sounds coming from the music may be produced by the camels themselves. As I say, the camels themselves are likely contributing some interesting sounds to the music too, because they can make a surprising variety of noises.
Pretty cool. I'm sure somebody has done this. They've recorded the sound of camels and then sampled them, mixed them around, and come up with some interesting recordings. You can probably find stuff on YouTube there. But here, the verb is to contribute. That means you give something in order to help that thing out. You might contribute money to a charity, for example, or if you're a member of a band, you make a contribution as well. If you play the trumpet, for example, or if you play the tuba, you are contributing to the song or the music. And I don't know if they've trained camels to actually snort or burp or grunt on the beat there, but sometimes it may actually be on the beat, who knows, but they do contribute because they make a pretty surprising variety of noises, maybe just like birds. Birds sing all sorts of different songs. Whales sing songs. And now camels make interesting sounds. My goodness, you learn something new every day.
That's right. And if you're wondering how camels sound when they make noises, just think about a particular character in a movie. It says, in fact, camels were even responsible for providing some of the audio for Chewbacca in Star Wars. So Chewbacca, of course, is the character in the Star Wars movie series. He is the big hairy character that is the sidekick of Han Solo, who doesn't actually speak but makes grunting and other noises that only Han Solo understands. So this sound is maybe associated with the sounds that camels make. So anyway, camels were responsible for providing some of the audio for Chewbacca in Star Wars. And audio refers to the sound that is recorded or played on an electronic equipment. So if you like listening to music, for instance, you might want to buy a high-quality, fancy audio system for your home.
Yeah, audio does refer to sound that is recorded using special equipment. If it's just a sound like a bird singing or a camel grunting, then that is a sound. When it's recorded and put in a movie, then it's the audio. And Chewbacca, of course, kind of groaned or moaned in those movies. I can't really do that sound myself, but I guess George Lucas probably went out somewhere and recorded the sound of the camel and then dubbed it over the movie when Chewbacca opened his mouth, meh, or whatever, making those weird sounds. They probably did that for other animals as well. So, the next time you come across a camel, keep an ear out for their chewy sounds. Yeah, if you go to the zoo, hopefully the camels will make some sounds, but you've got a higher possibility of hearing the sounds by searching the web for a YouTube video or something like that. I'm sure somebody has posted something. And also remember here it says, keep an ear out for those sounds, which means, be prepared to hear something. Don't be distracted by other sounds. Be ready to hear those sounds when you go to the desert. Keep an ear out. You could also say that for your eyes, too. Hey, we need to find a rest stop so I can go to the bathroom. Keep an eye out for the next rest stop so we can go in there and use the facilities. Okay, that brings us to the end of our very lively discussion about camels. It's time now to listen to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第3部分的第一句提到 The camels themselves are likely contributing some interesting sounds to the music too, because they can make a surprising variety of noises. 骆驼本身很可能也为音乐贡献了一些有趣的声音，因为它们会发出许多令人惊奇的声响。好，这边有2个文法重点，我们先来看A variety of 加上名词，表示各种的什么，各式各样的什么。Variety 前面也可以加上形容词，像是 wide、large、great 等等。举例来说 ，There are a variety of food options on the menu。意思就是说，菜单上有各式各样的食物可以选择。好，那另外我们还可以用 a range of 加名词，然后在 range 的前面可以加 wide、whole、broad、full 等等，来表达种类多元的各式各样的什么什么。举例来说 ，The store sells a wide range of beauty products。这间店有卖各式各样的美妆产品。好，那其实还有其他像是 all kinds of、all sorts of、all types of 等等，它们也都可以接复数可数名词或是接不可数名词来表达各式各样的什么。好，那我们接着看到文中有一个单字叫做 contribute， 我们来学它的字首字根。tribute T-R-I-B-U-T-E 它本身是一个单字，可以用来表达贡品、贡献、尊崇、敬意等等。好，那 tribute 当字根，它则是有给予、分配的意思。那我们来看在 contribute 这个字当中，它的字首 C-O-N 表示一起。Tribute 它有给予贡献的意思，把这2个部分组合在一起，一起贡献一起给予，这样应该可以联想到这个 contribute 它有捐献啊，或是做出贡献，为什么什么贡献的意思吧。好，那顺便补充几个有相同字根的单字哦。第一个是 attribute A-T-T-R-I-B-U-T-E， 它的字首 A-T 是来自 A-D 这个字首，表示朝向。Tribute 表示给予分配。好，当我们朝向某个人或是某事物，把这功劳啊或是过错等等分配给那个人或那个事物，应该就可以联想到 attribute 它有归因于、归咎于的意思。那 attribute 它还可以用来表达把某种特质归属于什么什么。第2个补充的单字是 distribute D-I-S-T-R-I-B-U-T-E， 它的字首 D-I-S 有个别分开的意思。Tribute 表示分配给予，当我们个别分配物品，一个一个给，就不难联想到 distribute 还有分配分发的意思咯。好，再来补充一个叫 retribution R-E-T-R-I-B-U-T-I-O-N Retribution 它的字首 R-E 表示往回，那么 T-R-I-B-U-T 这部分呢，就是来自 tribute 表示分配给予。至于 I-O-N 则是名词字尾，其实这个字啊，它还蛮容易联想的。我们知道种什么因就得什么果，当你做了什么不好的事情，自然会有不好的后果回报给你。所以呢 retribution 它就有报复、报应、惩罚的意思。好，以上是这些重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Domestic. Domestic cats are far less aggressive than their wild relatives. Haul. Workers hauled the bags of rice off the truck and carried them into the warehouse. Tolerate. Ronald avoids public transportation during rush hour because he can't tolerate crowds. Patrol. Guards patrol the prison grounds to make sure none of the prisoners can escape. Contribute. Some teachers contribute their own money toward buying supplies for students. Audio. The audio in this YouTube video is too quiet for me to hear clearly.
Discussion Starter starts now!
Here's our discussion starter for today. Helen, what is the most interesting fact that you learned about camels from the article?
Well, I was surprised to learn that camels had a clear third eyelid because that's something that I didn't know about before. I'd never seen it.
Well, it's interesting that camels make such a variety of noises because I love sound. I love listening to the sounds of birds and other animals. So, my goodness, I didn't know this about camels. I'm going to keep an ear out for the sounds of camels the next time I go to the zoo. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I'm Helen.
See you next time.